Oh man, I spent the whole budget on the intro. Just kidding, there's no budget. I'm broke. Hello art friends, it's me, Miss Smith Draws, aka Alicia Smith. And today we'll be covering the process of me making my 2023 Inktober series. What's Inktober, you ask? Well, if you're an artist and/or follow artists on social media, you've probably seen this challenge pop up every year near the fall and wondered, why would these people subject themselves to creating 31 unique pieces of artwork and pressure themselves into posting them every single day of October, feeding into the societal pressure to keep up with their peers and forcing themselves to meet harsh deadlines, all while probably maintaining their responsibilities at school or work? And to that I say, because it's fun. I promise, I'm having so much fun. Anywho, I'm here today to take you through the first part of the process of painstakingly, but enjoyably, creating exactly 31 artworks for the Inktober challenge. I have participated in Inktober for 5 years now, and this year will be my 6th. So grab a nice pumpkin spice latte, snuggle up in your favorite sweater or blanket, put on a cinnamon candle, and enjoy the video. Say hi to the camera. She wants to leave. Before I delve into the project itself, I want to inform viewers of the origins of the Inktober challenge. According to the official Inktober website, Jake Parker created the Inktober challenge in 2009 to improve his own drawing skills. The challenge has since become an annual event for many artists, including myself, in which people create traditionally black and white pieces of art, or art using only inking pens, for every day in October. Some artists also choose to split up their challenge in different ways. For example, it's common to see artists who create an artwork every other day or every week in October. The official rules for Inktober on their website state that as long as the posting of the artworks is consistent, it counts as participating in the challenge. Jake Parker and the official Inktober team have been posting public official prompt lists since 2016, making this their 8th year. Many artists, including myself, choose to create their own prompt lists for the month of October. When I first began participating, I used the official prompt list for 2018, and I did the same the next year in 2019. However, in 2020, I switched things up and used Christina Gomez's prompt list, also known as A Designer Life on Instagram. Finally, in 2021, I decided to make my own prompt list themed around the show American Horror Story. I was absolutely obsessed with it at the time, and it also helped that the show had 9 seasons. That was a lot of content to work with. The next year, in 2022, I made my own prompt list from scratch. I'll get to my own process of making a prompt list later on in the video, but first, I'd like to mention part of the reasoning behind my decision to move away from using the official Inktober prompt lists. We can't have one nice thing without a controversy, am I right? First of all, the Inktober community began with Jake Parker's initial postings in 2009. His initial idea was to create an ink-based artwork every day in October to create his own drawing habits. But once he started posting it online, the challenge blew up. People liked the idea of starting an annual tradition that anyone of any age or skill level could participate in, free of charge. Pretty simple, right? That is, until 2020, when Jake Parker decided to copyright the brand Inktober. In his statement, Parker specified that the only stipulations to his copyright included not using the official Inktober logo created by Parker and/or his team, and not explicitly writing Inktober or Inktober and the year in an attempt to separate his own official prompt lists and ideas from other people's. He stressed in the statement that artists were still free to use the word Inktober, as long as if they were following the official Inktober prompt list. They gave explicit credit to Jake Parker and the Inktober team. This split the art community participating in Inktober in half. On one side, people understood Parker's concerns about protecting his image and his creation, and wanting to benefit from the very brand that he procured over 10 years. After all, this copyright promised to allow artists to continue using the Inktober name and follow the prompt list that Parker and Inktober have been posting since 2016. So what's the harm? Some artists claim that Parker was hijacking the event by stating that he would take legal action on artists who did not follow his, very few, mind you, demands. At this point in the controversy, I was personally fine with Parker's decision. I understand wanting to benefit from something that is and always has been yours. But wait, there's more! For the low price of plagiarism, you could get 2 court cases for the price of 1. I'm just kidding. There was only one court case. Now, I'm no lawyer, nor do I know the first thing about the judicial process, so I apologize if my interpretation of the events of this case are not articulated properly. But to summarize what happened, an illustrator by the name of Alfonso Dunn created a book called Pen and Ink Drawing, A Simple Guide, in 2015. Jake Parker was set to release a book in September of 2020 called Inktober All Year Long. In a now deleted video, Dunn explains through showing side-by-side images of his own book versus Parker's new book, and explains how the drawings reflect a similar layout and style. I was unable to find Dunn's full video, but I did find some of the side-by-side images that he used in a video titled The Inktober Controversy 2020, Jake Parker vs. Alfonso Dunn by a channel called Studio Hannah. Definitely go watch her video for the full explanation. Of course, everyone can make their own judgment based on the images as to whether or not Parker was intending to copy Dunn's work. Since there is no direct evidence or records of anything being traced directly, it's difficult to come to a conclusion without knowing first-hand information. In the court case against Parker, Dunn lost and was unable to prove that the drawings were directly ripped off from his own works. I don't really want to dredge up old controversy, but it is important to know who you're supporting when participating in events like Inktober, and to be mindful of the origin of the challenge. Sorry for the icky stuff. Now onto the fun part, the making of the art. The first step in the Inktober journey is to figure out how you're going to choose your prompts. There is always the option of using the official prompt list, which is usually posted around September 1st of every year, but hundreds of artists on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube choose to create their own prompt lists. Some, like myself, choose to post their prompt lists a little bit in advance, like around September 1st, to give people the option to decide to join. Of course, you don't have to post yours if you just want to use it for yourself. And you should always give credit if you're going to use another artist's prompt list. This year, I decided to create my own. If you're interested in creating a prompt list, I'll tell you my process of how I made mine. Now, I've been coming up with prompt lists for... one year. So take my advice with a grain of salt. But to start, I literally just search autumn words in Google. I'm not going to pretend that this is some super difficult process, but this is just a jumping off point, a way to dip my toes into the metaphorical pool of possible prompts. In my final list, I definitely end up using some of the prompts that I picked at the beginning, but it usually takes a little bit more digging to find my official prompt list. From that initial search, I usually write down some of the words that I like, and then I move on to step 2, narrowing down the search. When I think of October, I don't just think of fall. I think of peak spooky season. I'm talking ghosts, I'm talking ghouls, and I'm even talking goblins. You better believe I'm gonna make some spooky little artworks for Inktober. One of my favorite motifs to use in my Inktober art are witches. Some people have even taken it as far as to create like a subset of Inktober called Witchtober, which is pretty self-explanatory. I personally like to keep doing Inktober because it keeps my options open in terms of creativity, but I have mad respect for anyone that can create 31 different witch designs in the month of October. Anywho, back to the searching. Having spooky season in mind, I like to search things like things related to ghosts, or things related to witches, or things related to the color orange. Anything that interests you about Halloween can work. By the time I've exhausted all my ideas for the things related to blank searches, I've got like 50 prompts. If you're going for the standard route of creating 31 pieces, you can definitely narrow down this list to 31 prompts that you like. And obviously doing the bi-daily or weekly prompts will have even less results. I personally love this part of the process. It allows me to envision what I could create from these prompts just by looking at the words. It's like when you hear a song and you envision an animation that you might want to create in the future, and you like know that you won't create it, but you picture it like frame by frame with like full color and shading and... Oh, sorry, just me? I know that's not just me. Comment below if you create animations in your head but never do them. This year, I followed this exact method to create my own prompt list. Do you want to hear it? Too bad, I'm telling you anyway. My Inktober prompts this year are as follows: Coven, Sweater, Moon, Fae, Sunflower, Vampire, Pixie, Cider, Spinster, Bonfire, Ghoul, Drizzle, Crisp, Scarf, Goldenrod, frog, nutmeg, foliage, aroma, jam, latte, mushrooms, imagine, berries, cake, peacoat, ragwort, vanilla, psychic, sylvan, and curse. If you like my prompt list, feel free to screenshot and use it in your own Inktober challenge. Just remember to give me credit. My handle is Miss Smith Draws on everything. You should have been following me so that you had the list on September 4th. But now it's October 1st and you're sitting there not drawing and not using my prompt list. Ugh. I'm so offended. Moving on. Now I'll talk about my Inktober 2023 experience. So guys, I actually have a little bit of a confession to make. I realized partway through making this video that I actually work a little bit differently. I get a little quirky at night. I thought that I'd be able to film the process of me making these artworks, but it turns out I work on them all over the place. At home, at school, at friends' houses, you name it, I've probably worked on an Inktober piece there. I can't really bring my ring light with me wherever I go, so I've got the next best thing. TikToks. I usually make TikToks for like every artwork that I do, so at the end of the month I'll post a compilation of all the TikToks that I've made while creating these artworks. I know, it's not the best solution, but TikToks are way easier to film wherever I am. I'd rather be able to capture some of my process rather than none of it, but since it is October 1st when I'm posting this, I can show you my first artwork. Switching to overhead camera now. Are you ready? Are you sure you're ready? Drum roll, please. And bam! Here it is. The prompt for number 1 is Coven, which to my knowledge is a group of witches. I mentioned earlier that I love drawing witches for Inktober, so I wanted to kind of start off strong with this witch piece. I absolutely love how it turned out. I really like the technique of coloring in the page behind the characters black. It just gives a sense of like darkness without that much effort. Just get like an extra chunky Sharpie and make sure you're in like a well-ventilated area and just like go to town with this thing. In past years, I've also utilized watercolors to help make the process go faster. And it's not that I want to rush through the process, but 31 drawings in a month don't just like materialize, you know what I'm saying? So if a medium can make the process go faster while still letting me enjoy it, you better believe I'm gonna use it. But this year so far, I've decided to stick to Copic markers for the quote-unquote coloring and shading of the pieces. These markers are phenomenal for getting those rich shades of gray. I have 9 different variations of gray, but Copic definitely sells a lot more than that. You also have to make sure that you have some refills on deck before Inktober starts, because you're gonna need them. All of the highlights on this piece are done with this Uniball Signo Broad white gel pen. This thing works on pretty much every marker and pen that I've tested it on. However, it's not great for watercolors or acrylic paints, so I would just use white paint if you're gonna highlight your painting. But yeah, I use that on like every traditional piece that I need highlights on that I've ever made, so I definitely recommend. If you ever have any questions on the materials that I use, feel free to comment below. But that's gonna do it for my showing off segment. Back to the camera that is pointed at my face. So that is going to do it for today's video. Make sure to check out my sketchbook tour videos, as that is a series that I have ongoing right now. You can cringe along with me as I take a look at the art from 2017 and beyond. I also want to create sketchbook tours for my Inktober books, so subscribe to see those in the future. Hope you enjoyed this little Inktober summary, and I will see you in the next video. Have a fantastic spooky season, and enjoy all the pumpkin spice flavored items that are out right now, as I will be doing. Love ya! Bye!